When I saw the picture of Russell Westbrook, I automatically went into black woman, wife, girlfriend slash mood. So what y'all need to understand as if you want to promote a designer for Fashion Week and they're paying you and you want to put on this dress, I need you to consider that woman that you walk down the aisle with.
Millennial Minded. The Millennial Minded. Millennial Minded. The Millennial Minded. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise.
And Gia.
And we got some cool things to discuss today with you. Thank you for tuning in. Please follow us on Instagram at millennial.minded. Check us out on our Facebook page at Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise and Gia. And of course, continue to like, subscribe, and comment to our YouTube channel. We appreciate all the support and everyone tuning in, listening, downloading the streams, and streaming on the podcast. We really appreciate all of that. So we want to talk about some fresh topics, fresh events that happened today. I don't think this is going to be a long one, but we never know. Every time we say it's not going to be long.
It winds up being the longest one.
Right. It gets longer. So recent events that happened. First, let me update that I did go ahead and get my shot. I went ahead and got my first dose of the Pfizer vaccine.
Okay.
Felt like nothing. I didn't feel anything. Everything was cool. Slight soreness, nothing crazy. So I did get my first dose. I kept my word. That was a cool experience. I go back in 3 weeks for my second dose, and I guess I'm fully vaccinated.
And then 2 to 3 weeks after your second dose, it's fully in your system.
Fully in my system. Got the grip. Okay. COVID. I'm COVID safe. I can go to New York and do all those other things. What else? Comments. I saw Carolina comment. Thank you so much for commenting. She said that's not how the vaccine works, so maybe she's agreeing with you. But I'm pretty sure most vaccines, my mom's here. I get to talk to her, ask her.
Mm-hmm.
But most vaccines, you're injecting yourself with a strain. But she said it's not how the Moderna one works.
Okay.
All right, so I digress on that. I believe Auntie Karen commented, said she thinks it's a good idea that I do get my dose, especially if you're around kids 12 years or younger. And I went ahead and did that. So thank you so much for commenting. How do you feel about the mandate, though, for 12-year-olds to get the vaccine or you can't go to school?
I didn't hear that. Is that something?
Like LA and other districts are mandating now that 12 years or older, if you want to be in school, you got to take the jab, as they say.
Well, that will be on the list of the other vaccines that's required for them to go to school. So I am all for it.
Okay, all for it. What else? So I guess we could jump right in, right?
We had a busy week this week.
Yeah.
And the man, y'all been acting up this week. Y'all been showing y'all natural born behind.
Who? Men?
Men.
Okay. So I want to talk about the programming that I feel is happening to our youth, our young people, and I don't even want to say black, white, like in our black community, but I see it more so push in our culture and in our community. So I saw Lil Nas X his video thing, video of the year, whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, why would they promote? They really don't like God because he's really like blaspheming God in the video, and all types of acts that our young people don't need to see. And now, is it our fault, adults, that let their children like Old Town Road? Because I think he said something about on Twitter, like, "Yo, blame yourself for allowing your child to see that." I'm rapping about lean and adultery. Blame yourself for that. Do you feel like the onus is on the adult for letting our children watch that?
I think he explained it really well. He was on a program and he basically said, "Listen, I'm not responsible to raise y'all kids."
Okay.
And as much as we don't like that, he is 100% right. He is not responsible to raise our children. He, as an artist, can be as creative as he would like to be. And it really is up to the parents as to what we allow our children to be exposed to.
Now, because he has an influence over children or just influence in general,
Mm-hmm.
you don't feel that a person with this power, this capability should be careful of what they put out because they have this influence, or
I think we gave him this influence. So we gave it his if we gave him this influence in the first place, we can't now try to muffle him or stifle wherever he want to go. Just like we talked about last week about artists being creative and thinking outside the box and not using just one method to create music. This is what he's doing, and we just don't really like it, and it's uncomfortable for us to watch, but he is doing what makes him comfortable. So as far as should he be more responsible as to what he put out there,
mm-hmm.
technically he has the freedom and the autonomy to do and put out whatever he wants to put out.
And I'm not questioning his freedom to do such things. I agree with you.
Should he scale it back, knowing that most of his fan core base are children?
Yes.
Now that I believe should be taken into consideration, because 45-year-old men is not dancing and bopping. You really know, son. 7-year-olds is like dancing and bopping to your music. It's not their grandparents. So now taking that into consideration, I do think he should be as creative as he want to be, but knowing that you're a millionaire because of 7-year-olds, maybe scale it back.
Okay, all right. So I agree with there. I think we got common ground there.
Okay.
So, and then I see Russell Westbrook, I think Kid Cudi. I forgot what the event was. I don't know if it was Met Gala or not. I'm not too sure.
Oh, the Fashion Week.
Fashion Week.
Okay. Ooh, Lord.
And I see, men who claim to be heterosexual. Now, if you're not heterosexual, I have no problem with you wearing a skirt. First of all, yeah, I have no problem with you wearing a skirt. That's your choice. That's what you want to do. No problem. I have a problem when I see heterosexual men, especially black men, now wearing woman clothing as such as a skirt. And I also feel like we're really pushing an agenda and programming our young children with our influence in their platform. It's making it cool or okay to wear women clothing or skirts. And I believe, some people that are progressive will probably say there's nothing wrong with it. And I feel that it is because I don't even know how to say it, Gia. Well, what's your thought first on seeing Westbrook wearing a skirt? Or I think Kid Cudi had on all types of stuff, eyeliner, all types of stuff.
Okay. So the first thing that people go to is, again, being an artist and being creative. Just because a Caucasian man from France designed it and he has a really big name in France, don't mean you got to wear it and call it fashion and promote that.
Right.
Because they are using you, like you said, as there's an agenda behind everything. If you look at most of the clothing in men's stores, some of that stuff is just as feminine as it wants to be. That's because there's a certain culture or a certain group of people who are in the fashion industry who are the designers who want to see men in certain items. Like, my son won't allow me to buy him a pair of shorts. Again, my son
Okay.
is 6'4".
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when I seen every man this summer in shorts, the shorts were about 4 inches above their
Really hot.
knees.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not
yeah.
even wearing shorts that's to their knee. Like, there is something wrong with that, to where you can't find a pair of men or even basketball shorts at this point. They becoming shorter and shorter.
For real.
So don't question boys when you see them sagging no more. Y'all not making the clothes big enough. But to do this in the name of fashion, I have an issue with that.
It's
But I have
subliminal.
another perspective coming from a Black woman about men and women's clothing.
I would love to hear it because I have a story. I'm sure you've heard it before, people, but you can look at the comedian Dave Chappelle,
Mm-hmm.
how he was filming. They took a break. He went back to his trailer. And he saw a dress in there, and he's like, "Oh, I'm in the wrong dressing room. Let me get up out of here." And one of the guys comes to him and says, "Hey, Dave, we have a really funny skit. If you would, just put this dress on and do such and such and such." And he's like, "No, I'm not doing it." He's like, "Dave, it really be funny if you just did this." "No, I'm not. I'm not comfortable doing that. I don't want to do that." Next person comes later. A producer comes in. "Hey, Dave, I see you're having some problems wearing a dress. It would really be funny if you put on the dress and blah blah blah." "No, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. No, I don't want to do that." "Okay, Dave. Okay." Director comes later. "Dave, it would really be good if you put on the dress." "No, why do you want me to put on the dress? Why do you want me to put on the dress?" "I don't want to put on." "No, I'm not doing it." They pleaded with him. He stayed in his ground. They leave. A couple minutes later, the whole script is changed. So basically he was saying they already had a script. It was already done. The scene was already done. But they wanted to change it, put a dress on him and have him wear that and do whatever. And because he didn't do that, they just went back to the original script that they already had.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it takes a long time to come up with those scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, why do they want me to put on a dress so bad? And why are all of our Black men putting on this dress? And I've searched YouTube, I read articles where entertainers are saying, "Yo, people are coming up to us saying, 15 million, just dress like this. Just dress like this," and whatever the case may be. And here's 15 million. Why are they trying to take away our men? So what's your, you say you have another woman's perspective on this.
So when I saw the picture of Russell Westbrook, I automatically went into Black woman, wife, girlfriend / mode. So what y'all need to understand is, if you want to promote a designer for Fashion Week and they're paying you and you want to put on this dress, I need you to consider that woman that you walk down the aisle for.
I ain't even
That
think of that
woman
one.
that you confess to love, and those children that you have looking up to you. You may have gotten a certain amount of money and may call it fashion, but just imagine how she as a woman feel about the man that she married in a suit that's taking pictures in a dress for fashion. As a Black woman, that hurt me. As a black mother, I would you looking at me like I'm crazy, but
No.
coming from a woman's perspective,
I
it's
ain't
like,
thinking that one. Yeah.
baby, I know you want to be. I want to help you. Like, we're partners in this, but just imagine what internally what I'm thinking and what I'm going through when I have to see the man that I love promote that. And then have to stick by him as he says he's heterosexual.
Right. That's the part I don't get.
Just imagine how his wife feel, how his mother feel. Like, coming from a heterosexual man, I think there's a different idea when you have, because all gay men don't cause stress. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
But if it's from a gay man that has, a different type of fashion sense and want to do that, yeah. But you married a woman and you have children and you are influential. Just think about that woman next time you trying to promote this 25-year-old fashion designer that's gonna pay you a whole bunch of money to rock what he can't even rock himself.
Right.
Think about that woman you walk down the aisle and the ridicule that she's gonna go through. And just the self-worth that I'm thinking as his wife, like, I wouldn't have married you if you walked down the aisle in a dress. but I got to stick beside you through the media and everything
While
that
they bashing you,
Marquise and Gia
yeah.
are talking about on the Millennial Minded Podcast. I got to stick beside you because I'm in this for the long run, and you only thinking about yourself when you advertise stuff like that.
He's probably getting paid off to do this. Why are they doing this? I put on Sesame Street for Micah, and I couldn't believe it. Like, they're like, the agenda that they're pushing to our kids. Like, why does my son, why does your son, your daughter have to know about sexuality at a couple of months, 10 months, a year old, 2 years old? They gotta, why? Like,
Mhm.
I saw a guy in a dress, black guy as well, another African American in a dress singing on Sesame Street, and I'm just like, what the heck? Turn this off. So you really got to watch.
Rasul said that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he asked us to cover that. He said he turns off a lot of Sesame Street when my nephew was watching. My nephew's father said, "Did y'all address what's going on in the cartoons lately and how Batman and Robin and
No,
and
not
then
Batman.
Robin is now bisexual, the new
come
upcoming
on.
series, and he's bisexual, and y'all have him in like a leotard, a panty leotard, and y'all promoting this to boys. Like, come on, girls don't really watch Batman and Robin.
Right.
That's for boys.
Right.
They watch Batman and Robin.
Right. What do they try to do to our young boys? I'm really saying, I'm crying aloud right now, hitting the alert right now. Really see what they're trying to do to our young boy, and they're using our people in our culture that have influence and power to say this is okay, and it's your fault that I'm influencing them. It's your fault, but it's not really. It's not. I mean, parents shouldn't let their children listen to Nas X, but you got to hold some accountability. You're just saying like, hey, I presented it to you. Kind of like what the devil does. I present it to you. If you take it, that's on you.
Take it, yeah.
Yeah, but your kids are All right, there's no 6-year. I've seen it. 6-year-old, 7-year-old with guns and talking about game bang and throwing up signs. They're being influenced by something to do that. Most 6 and 7-year-olds don't just do that on their own. So they're being influenced.
Yes.
And you people in these high positions that are using our athletes or entertainers, whatever, to push this agenda, which is to me satanic, to in a sense of we're really going against God's will is one thing, but we're trying to strip the men of being a man, and I don't like it. If it's coming down to Sesame Street, I don't know why they're doing this to children. Why are they trying to program our children? Really be careful. The Sesame Street is doing it. I'm watching all these little kid shows. You got to really monitor. First of all, I have a problem with just giving, someone like a child like the tablet and say go free, because if you're not monitoring it, as you can see, they're really gonna push this sexuality thing on them, and they're too young for that. There's nothing shouldn't even be thinking about sexuality right now. So, just putting you on alert, people. They're really trying to do something to I say black men, especially because I don't see David Beckham wearing a skirt.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying he hasn't, but I don't really see the push for David Beckham to dress like a woman.
But Sesame Street is universal, so that. But
it was a black guy in the skirt.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not saying that other people on Sesame Street didn't wear it, but what I saw the brother was in the skirt singing happy. I'm like, come on, man, why they doing this? I don't know if it's
emasculate the black man because they already think that the black man is already too masculine and that maybe they need to tap into their softer side. But tapping into the softer side has nothing to do with being feminine and wearing it. It's just, being conscious of what we say and how we act and, being, not using harsh words, but to go as far as to put somebody in a whole different attire. I think at an early age, boys and girls should know what boys don't wear dresses.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, and then people say, y'all give the example of what about the Scottish and they wear kilts and they do that. There are some ceremonial aspects where men wear skirts. If we was in Africa and we had a religious ceremony to go to, the men would have on like a robe that looked like not a feminine dress, but it would
Yeah.
be like a dress or something tied around their waist. And when the ceremony is over, they putting on pants. Okay?
Right.
So, we see it more and more in American culture. That's how when you said a few episodes back, like you wouldn't be able to do this in Africa.
Oh no.
You wouldn't be able to do it in Asia or India. You definitely ain't doing it in the Middle East.
Right.
So Europe and America, so yeah, it's
really progressive, as the Bible speaks against cross-dressing. It's bad. It's really bad. It's
cross-dressing is not bad. It's the influence on our children.
I don't think I should be dressing like a woman. Oh, a woman, a lady. I think that's
if it's your choice to. Now, if it's your choice to wear,
you want to see me in a skirt?
I do not want to see you in a skirt.
Okay.
I do not want to see you in a skirt. No, I do not. You don't shave your legs good enough for me to have to see you in a skirt. And y'all in dresses, y'all ain't even rocking them right. Leave that to the women.
You should be rocking it, dress, skirt, boots, and I'm like, what are you
I don't want to make it seem like we're coming against somebody's personal choice, but we have an issue when it starts to affect our children and what our children are seeing. Because Russell Westbrook is he's a ball player.
He's a heterosexual.
I'm only talking about tough as nails. He'll tell you, "I'll punch you right in your face with this dress on."
Like, what brother from the hood, L.A. would come out and do that? I'm like, what hood are you talking about? Like, it doesn't make sense. But I would say he bit the apple. A lot of those players did. I seen LeBron James with what looked like to be a purse. I'm like,
a man purse.
It looked
they
like
call
a
him
woman.
a merce.
It looked like
a man purse. Oh. A man purse.
Watch what's happening to our children. We got to protect our children, not just black, but they're really pushing this agenda on us. All boys to get rid of them. But I just happen to see our black leaders, or not even leaders, but entertainers doing it more often. That's why I'm saying that.
Okay.
But
I think that's because in our culture, that's who we pay attention to the most. Now, they say the same thing about goth and white boys, and they polishing their nails. And I even seen rappers with men don't wear nail polish either. Like, some stuff.
The clear ones or the?
I seen them in like black nail polish and like I don't mind.
Problem with me clear nail polish?
No, I have a problem with clear, but you don't need to put pink nail polish on and still proclaim to be a heterosexual man. Yeah. If you're gonna put pink polish on, go ahead and say, "Listen, I'm a little pink too," but don't put it on and go to a bar and think that a woman is gonna take you. She's gonna take you serious enough for just to entertain you. But in the back of her mind, we have grown up with the sense that I'm from an era where we got on the same nail polish. Nah, I can't take you that serious.
Yeah. And I'm seeing the men too taking pictures like they're pregnant as well.
Lil Nas X did do that. He did take a. But I think he's doing that for the conversation and just to be the topic of it. I think he likes to stir up controversy. It works for him because he has everybody talking about it. And then he is capitalizing off of it because whether the attention is good or bad, he's getting the attention. He has to go to sleep at night. And if he goes to sleep on a regular conscience, it does not bother him right now. It will if this is not truly who he is. It's going to weigh down on him. And the first sign of it weighing down on him is going to be the effects on his mental health.
Okay. So I don't know what, other than being attuned to and seeing the signs of what's going on, especially with our young children, especially with this push from wherever it's coming from, to it's okay to be, I don't know. If you look at this, all right, I'm not gonna go deep. But if you look at the Baphomet and the spiritual side of it, that says men and women can be into one thing, and how satanic that is. Like, you can look that up yourself about the Baphomet and what that represents. Just we really got to be prayerful. We really got to be able to discern what's happening, and what the agenda is being pushed, and how to stand strong. Have our children stand, like, teach them young, like, yo, boys don't do this, girls don't do this, because if we can program them now, they'll be able to stand the times when they'll be able to reach in that archive, because kids are learning better than we did. They're I like learn faster. They know how to work these computers and cell phones and all this stuff. Crazy. So if we can instill in them now principles and morals and what's this and what's that, they'll, when it's presented to them in the real world and they're at school, they'll be able to, no, I don't dress like that. No, I don't do that. No, I don't do that. So I think we got to put that in them early, because you see what the world is trying to put in them as well.
Wow. It's so funny that we're talking about this, because I watched a TED Talk last week, and it's
okay. Cool.
His name was Tony Porter, and he talked about the man box. And there's like a box that boys and men like create, and there's like certain sayings that's in the man box, and in the man box, some things that they say about boys is like, don't ever show fear. Some things like don't act like a girl, don't cry, don't show emotion. And there's certain things that we do to boys to create, like we create a boundary within boys like that they can't go any further than. And because we create that, some people believe that we teach boys that girls are the inferior sex. And so they automatically have to be stronger. So what they're saying is, if we use a different approach with boys, a gentler approach, and like he said, his son would come crying to him. And before his son would got to him, he already made it up in his mind. What you crying for? Go back in your room, wipe your tears, boys. But his daughter would be able to sob in his lap. And he said he would see that his daughter can sob in his lap, but his son, he would not accept that from him. And he was already creating something within him to where his son had to know, if I come to my father, I can't cry. And it's just...
No, it's not good. That's not healthy either.
Boys are getting it on the worst side of everything, because they're not really being gentle. They're not really being loved gently as girls are. And then when they get of a certain age, you want them to be as much like a girl in emotion as possible.
You mean as they get older, you want them to be vulnerable and all that stuff?
We ask all of these things that we told them not to do.
Yeah, that comes down to
so they're getting it. They're confused.
Now, as much as I talk about the women, the black women especially, who are mentally stronger than us men. We're stronger in one area or one aspect. We have strength, but the woman, just mentally, emotionally stronger, has endured so much, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just hands down to you. People left you, single parent, husband left you, divorced you, took this to you, and the men, we run away. So, when we go through that stuff and we had enough, we say, some men, I'm out. I'm leaving. I don't want nothing to do with you. Walk away from the kids. And mothers don't. They endure all of that and still take care of their kids. Both of them, right? Take care of the kids. So stronger than us in a lot of ways. But you got to see that the attack is really, again, is for us.
It's for the men.
It's for the men. They did it, slavery. We talked about that maybe the first episode, how they just ripped us of our strength, of our dependence,
dignity, and everything in front of our women.
In front of our women, so they can see all right, we got to rely on this person to take care of us because the man that I came with and God gave me or I married is broken. He's got nothing. So they break the will, you know what I mean? So, and it's been happening for years, centuries. And they're not, breaking us apart with horses right now, but they're pushing this. Be a woman, be feminine. It's okay. It's okay to do this. It's okay. So shout out to masculine men. We need more masculinity right now. We need men that's going to teach the child, our boys, it's okay to be vulnerable. Express how you feel. We talked about outlets, needing outlets. You can't hold all that stuff in. You got to be able to talk about all that. It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry.
And then wean them off to be independent as they get older, to stand on their own 2 feet, etc. They got to have the balance.
They got to have the balance. Boys have to know, starting from children. Children have, especially boys, if they do have to cry, you're not crying because you spilled your milk. You're not crying because you may cry because you lost a race. Because you wanted to win the race. But you're not crying. You fell and you hurt yourself. Naturally, you're hurt. So it's okay to express emotions and cry about that. But you're not crying because of accidents. You're not crying over mistakes. You're not crying because you can't express yourself, because that's enough. Because the one emotion that is tolerated with boys to me is anger. Yeah. We know you're angry. I know you're upset. I know I've been through that. That's an emotion that we can identify with, anger with boys. But as far as them being scared and being, so we got to do a better job. But it's been the women that had to raise these boys. So having this conversation, it's not counterproductive, but I've been on the other side of somebody having this conversation with me, and listen, I'm a single mother doing the best that I can with what else you want. So if men don't step up and show,
they need role models, they need the uncles, they need the youth program, the basketball coach, and they need those other things if they're not getting it, from dad or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, all the deadbeat dads, y'all can go into the woods together and.
Y'all ain't gonna be in the woods when Jesus returns.
Y'all go somewhere,
Go ahead and take that mark of the beast.
But
and go to hell. Yeah. You ain't taking care of your kids respectfully.
Exactly. But the mother's got to find other avenues to support. And of course, you're doing all that you can, but other role models, youth program, basketball coach, et cetera, to help support these young men as they go through these emotions. They have emotions too.
But now what about sexuality? Because it's the sexuality part that like y'all are trying to bring out of these boys, and it's more towards a feminine side or homosexuality. We're not about to skip over this now. So when we get to the emotional part, how do we talk to our children about homosexuality?
That's a conversation you shouldn't have to do that at 8 years old. Yet,
I think so.
Now you do.
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, before, no. Years back, my mommy had to talk to me about the homosexuality at 8.
No.
Now you do, because it's so prevalent. So I don't even know how to navigate that. But I know I would just start young. Now, no, boy, don't do this. No, you don't play with the U-word. And I know there's progressive people that are like, no, he can play with anyone. Let him choose. No, I'm not letting him. No, I'm setting you up this way. Now, if you get older and make a choice, that's a different thing. But I'm instilling him now. You a boy, and this is what boys do. And you can't wear those shoes and walk in those shoes and those heels. My mother would kill me if I walked. So, and I don't know how to start there, and then I guess see what happens. I don't know.
You have to start the conversation of sexuality at an age where they don't see a Little Nas X video and see him kissing another boy and think that that's okay.
I know.
Because 8-year-olds have access to YouTube and can see the Montero or whatever name the video. They can see that. So what age do you start talking to your children about like sex and sexuality? Please don't leave it to the youth group, to the youth pastors.
Your church.
We gotta do better than that. Because I saw an article with a lady that I follow on Instagram, and it was a good conversation, and it had me thinking. I sent it to Marquise, and it talked about promiscuity within the church, and she was saying that it's so rampant because we are not talking about sex and sexuality. We're hiding it behind,
or making it like
really like
taboo.
a cliche. Where we telling teens that's when it's up and it can't go down, that it only should be up when you about to get married, and that's not
No, true story. Oh my god, true story.
What?
I remember in church. Oh, it's embarrassing.
Spill the tea.
We were on Central Ave, and I don't know, 12 something. And I'm, you think it up every once in a while, you know what I mean? And at that age, I think hormones are raging.
Okay.
So I'm not thinking nothing sexual. I wasn't even considering sex. None of that stuff's going through my mind. Just the hormones. So I'm at church, and I'm just getting every once in a while, and I'm standing up holding the offering plate.
Holding the offering plate. They need your 2 arms.
I was an usher, so I'm standing up on the side like this, and I'm like, no one can see this.
Oh man, were you uncomfortable?
I was uncomfortable, but I just blocked it out. Like if I ignore this,
everybody else going to ignore it.
There's someone had to pull me to the side, like, yo, blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh my god. So I've been standing up there for months, holding the offering basket on the side, walking people to the seat. So yeah, I don't even know why you talk about
because
church.
but only you needed to know at that time that you can't predict when it's going to happen.
Right.
Sometimes the weather, the shift in the atmosphere will change it. And it's natural. You don't need to be embarrassed about it. So sometimes you wasn't embarrassed?
No, I was.
Oh, you were.
Yeah, I was trying to hide it.
I mean, you would, because of course you're in a place where you don't want, to be exposed like that. But they're saying if we open up the conversation about sex and not about them having sex or anything, but just made it less cliche to talk about, then we would have less promiscuity, especially in our church, because there was a study that came out that said the most promiscuous women are women that grew up in the church. Lord help me today. I didn't grow up in the church. I got saved when I was 18. So I'm excluded from that bunch. But I was shocked to find out. And then I had to think about, much respect to all the ladies that I've ever been to church with. But when I first started church, there was some girls that I mentored and that I was over, and they're like 10 to 15 years younger than me. They got 4 and 5 kids now. Like, they done shot past me in life 100%. And I'm like, these babies, we was doing the weekend weight program, and they got 5 and 6 kids now. And I'm okay with them starting families, but it was just like, what did I not teach them about? And then it was like, oh, it's not my fault. It's not my responsibility. I was given an assignment and an agenda to teach them about the love of Jesus in church and loving themselves and loving people. But should we have introduced something to where they can openly discuss?
Yeah, I don't know what age that is. That should be. I don't know if it's 8.
I think it should start when hormones start, so that they're not embarrassed, because they're going to teach sex ed in school.
I think we did sex ed in middle school.
7th, 8th grade. Yeah, so that's when the hormones start.
So that's probably when you should start doing the sexual preference, the homosexual, all that talk of sex, all the sexualities.
Technically, boys, if boys know. They said boys know between the age of, and this was scary for me.
No, don't say it.
They said 3 and 6
Boys
know that they are different. 3 and 6.
I don't know if I believe it. Well, you said that was a study done?
I mean, it was just like typically between the ages. It was a psychology study. Typically between the ages of 3 and 6, a group of homosexual men were able to give the age where they said they first knew that they were different. I knew at 3 years old I liked walking in my mother heels. I knew at 3 years old I liked standing with her in the kitchen with her apron on, and I liked putting on her makeup. 3 and 6, and I was flabbergasted.
Yeah, I am too right now. I'm kind of speechless because I can't imagine. And what do you do, like as a parent, if you see? I mean, I would try to stop it, cut it off right there. But if I don't know.
What can
really
you do that we don't know? What you can't do anything as imagine having to have that conversation with your child. Where they come out, and usually the parents are the last ones that they come out to because of it, and especially in the church, because when we talk about homosexuality, the words that are associated with it in the scripture are vile, disgust, detestable, and abomination. So these words are the words that they're hearing, which automatically makes them feel shameful and guilty for even feeling that way. Mm-hmm. So I'm not coming out against anybody that's living their life, right. Whatever their sexual preference is. I'm wondering, we are wondering now,
why push to the young people?
Why push it, and they already have enough going on, and then if they come to the realization that I may do like girls, or I may do like boys, and I'm of that same sex, what would that conversation be like?
Yeah, let us know what you think about about that. Like, what do you do if your 3-6-year-old boy is, identifies with, liking walking in mommy's shoes or whatever the case may be? Or
you don't beat them for it.
No, I don't think
you don't beat them for it, because that's usually a result. They think they've been beat for it, and so it's a lot of shame and a lot of things that is associated with it. So there has to be, again, a healthy outlet and a healthy response to things that we're going on, things that are going on in our household and with our children. And if you don't know how to have the conversation, you need to reach out to somebody that does, because somebody gonna get a hold of your child. Somebody gonna get a hold of your child.
Some entertainer, and I believe Russell Westbrook is heterosexual and probably really a masculine dude, mm-hmm. but he's being put up to do this, mm-hmm. to sway people or children or people that look up to him to do this. But he's really not about it. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, he can decipher it. Nah, it ain't really me. I'm doing it for this bag or whatever, whoever is pushing this, the elites. So, but our young people don't know that. Our young people think it's okay to, do syrup and pop these pills, even though, there's rappers rapping about it, but he really doesn't do it.
Yeah.
They lie in their songs too. I'm sure now.
They do, yeah.
Some probably do those things, but our kids don't know.
I don't. And our girls are looking at the Meg the Stallions and the Cardi B's, and they want the Megan Lees, and they're looking at these things as well. Yeah. Sexually, they seeing them girls on girls, and what girls on girls, it's more of a fetish, so it's not as much seemed as disgusting as people make men on men think. Yeah, because girl on girl it's like a little fetish, and they're playing off of that. They're seeing these things.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's a fetish.
I didn't think of that.
My girl got a girlfriend, and just songs like that. And now they thinking I can have a boyfriend and I can have a girlfriend. And guess what? The boy is 100% down for it, because he see his favorite rapper saying, "My girl got a girlfriend."
Drake got a song like that. Girls want girls on his new album. He talking about, yeah, I'm a lesbian too, because I like girls on girls too. So yeah, Right. They're all, these entertainers are pushing this agenda.
We got to get to the conversation before they hear it in the music. Get
100%.
to the conversation before they hear it in the music. And if you are like Marquise and I, you were either in the church for a long time and you now have your own children. So there's a twofold to it.
Absolutely.
What does the word say about it? What are some things that are going to come naturally in your body that I don't want you to be disgusted and ashamed about? It's just genetic. God made the body. It is your genetic makeup. That is, it's what you have. Don't be ashamed about it. But there's also a responsibility that comes with whatever decision you make when you are old enough to make that decision.
Yes, when you're old enough to make that decision.
Everybody ain't gonna wait for marriage. We ain't stupid. We're not stupid.
Right.
Everybody ain't gonna wait for marriage. But you don't need to have your 16-year-old or your 12-year-old, because they're becoming younger and younger, trying to explore before they need to, because they're being influenced by outside sources.
And the Cardi B's and Lil Nas say, that's on you. That's not my responsibility. And
because her daughter don't listen to her music. If you ever seen her, because she go live a lot. She go live a lot. And when she play her music in front of her daughter, she bleep out all of her curse words and she put those big expensive earphones over her ears so she can't hear that mess. When you see her daughter got on a turtleneck and a skirt and socks to match, and she's dressed like a little girl, almost dressed like a church girl, if you will. That baby ain't never got on anything inappropriate, but it's your kids that got on a Cardi B wig for Halloween. And pasties.
Listen, they're playing you. People, they're playing you like a fool. And you fools.
Playing into their hands.
Playing right
they
into
kids
that
in private school listening to country music.
Country music or symphonies. Bach and Beethoven, and they just feeding your children this filth, not really good content, same repetitive beat, and just defiling your children. But their kid is good. They're not listening to that stuff.
No.
Steve Jobs did not let his children use iPhone because they were, our kids are addicted to it. He made the product. He revolutionized the world. Got it. They cannot have their iPhone or use their products at the dinner table or whatever the case may be. But we're addicted to it. You can't stay off your phone for 2 minutes without checking your notifications, without posting all right, let me digress. So they're playing you like for fools. You know what I mean?
And you can see it. They show that you play. When you see, when you look at Beyonce show pictures of her daughter being in like a dance class, and she can really dance. Her daughter ain't dancing to nothing that she made. Her daughter dancing to jazz and ballet.
Like the way she is either.
Nope. Her daughter is dancing to jazz and ballet in a regular uniform. Her daughter ain't dancing to the stuff y'all daughters are dancing to that she made.
None of that, right?
No.
Yo. All right, so you heard the warning. You heard the warning from Marquise and Gia. You've seen it. It's been happening for centuries. The deprogramming, the ripping of masculinity. We talked about it in one of our other episodes as well. About this agenda being pushed. It's even more. They're really going after your kids, from Sesame Street to your entertainers to, really be careful.
Start the conversation. Don't leave it to anybody else. It's not the teacher's fault. Right? It's not the church's fault. It ain't nobody. It is not anyone's responsibility to teach your children about themselves and what's going on in the world besides you. Don't leave that conversation untouched.
Yes. Word of the wise. We'll be back again next episode. We'll talk about some more stuff. Thank you for tuning in to the Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise and Gia. We said we wouldn't be long, but we're about 40-something minutes in, but it's okay. We appreciate it chopping up with you. We are not coming against or talking bad or about homosexuality. If that's what you want to do, we respect your right to do that and practice that. It's really a target. We're talking about the heterosexual person that's doing this and trying to confuse our young people. That's what we're talking about. Follow us on Millennial Minded on Instagram and our Facebook page as well. And we'll see you next episode. Peace
Bye.
out. Millennial Minded.